Check it out.
All right, guys, hey, welcome back to the channel. I am pleased to announce Liam is back.
I am back! What it do, baby?
And before we get started, I gotta do something that I really don't want to do, but I absolutely have to. I'm gonna ask you guys to not just press, not push, but smash the like button. Smash the like button. Ugh. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, we are back with Liam and a bunch of changes. I know we've done some previous videos on everything that we changed, but for those of you that missed those videos, I want to kind of just summarize real quick. Depending on how far back you go, we have gotten rid of the water to air intercooler. We started running on a 50-50 methanol and 93 octane, like just regular pump gas mix. We're gonna probably run that fuel out, just driving it around and everything, but we are switching to 100% methanol, and that's what the dual tanks have to do with. So what we're gonna try here is to always have a tank of pump gas and a tank of methanol. We obviously still wanna stay very much a street car. We wanna be able to drive around. These tanks are relatively small, but on pump gas, it should get pretty darn good gas mileage. So an 8-gallon tank, assuming that we have about, right at 8 or maybe a little bit below it, we should be able to get some decent range on that. If we're gonna keep some fuel jugs with us still as well. So I think it'll get us what we need to do. And what'll be nice is that we have to continuously flush this system out. So when we are racing on methanol, what we're gonna do is drive to the track on pump gas, or drive wherever we're going on pump gas. And then we're going to make just an easy 2-line changes, and that will put it over to methanol. So that's done just basically right here. I was gonna do some valves so that you could just turn the handles and be on the different fuel, but there's a couple of reasons why I didn't want to do that. The biggest reason was I wasn't sure about which valves were the quality ones, like which ones wouldn't leak for sure. Because once you have the valves in there, the nice thing about having the valves is that you don't have to ever disconnect any lines. The problem is you can't tell when something is leaking. So if one of the valves starts leaking and it's constantly bleeding in some pump gas, my tune's gonna be based on thinking that we have 100% methanol. If we don't have 100% methanol, I'm worried that, the amount of timing that we have in it, or the amount that the ECU is having to compensate because that mixture starts coming in and throwing off the air fuel. So I just said, screw it, I don't even want to deal with that right now. Starting out with this, dual tank setup, I want to minimize the issues that we might have. So it's going to be a real simple process. I got a little, rigged up way to hold these lines up here, but these are the lines that are coming from this tank. This is going to be the pump gas tank. When we want to switch over to methanol, I'm literally just going to undo these lines. I have plugs. Get this out of the way. Sorry, still cleaning up. We have these male plugs here that we're essentially going to undo from here. I have 2 sets of them, so I don't know if I'll always keep 2 sets and just like make a little cubby in here or something that way I can keep the wrenches that we need for this change as well as the plugs. We'll figure that out as we go, but yeah, we'll undo these, put the male plugs in, so that tank is basically going to be isolated from the system at that point. We'll probably cap this, so my sweet little thing over here, this is just rigged up for now, but I have a cap here on the tank that's currently not being used. I'm going to switch that cap over to this, and then obviously the male caps for the female lines seal off the entire system, and then this is going to then be routed to this using this line. So this line is capped off right now, but basically it's going to run over to this line to make this return go to this tank instead. So I don't know, hope there was probably an easier way to explain that, but here's the problem. There's going to be a portion of fuel that's still in the system. So if I'm running on pump gas and I want to switch over to methanol, I want to try to minimize the amount of pump gas that is in the fuel system to return back to this. So before I actually switch the return, and I got to play around with this a little bit and see how long it actually takes to do, but what we're going to end up doing is probably leaving the return line on that for a little while and pull from the methanol tank so that it's filling the lines with methanol but then returning pump gas, and see how long it takes for it to clear those lines. So the first couple of times that I do this, I'm gonna basically see, all right, how long does it take for this to, you know, go from the yellow looking pump gas to the clear methanol. And based on that amount of time, I think I'm just gonna set my prime to that amount of time, so that I know every single time I can go ahead and switch the lines. I can switch these lines here, and I can leave this return here, and I can turn the key on once to prime, and it will almost completely run out the amount of pump gas that's in the lines. And then I'm ready to switch it over to this tank for the return. I think that'll work. I don't know, you guys let me know what you think. Maybe you got some better ideas. But we could still do that with the valves. I just won't be able to, you know, see it very easy. Maybe once we get to the point where I'm really confident on, you know, how long it takes to pump all of that out, maybe we'll switch to valves eventually. But I've heard that the ones that definitely will not leak are kind of expensive. So we'll see. But I already primed, so this one is full of pump gas right now. I already primed it. There's no leaks at all at this point. I'm gonna start it up on pump gas. So I'm probably gonna have to make a couple of changes to the tune, because the last time that we ran this, it was on the methanol 50-50 mixture. So probably have to take a little bit of fuel out of the tune. And yeah, we'll start it up. This is a new engine. If you guys remember, we broke the last one. So it's same exact setup, stock bottom end. All we did was head studs, valve springs and retainers, stock push rods, stock rockers, stock trunnions, you know, stock bottom end. We didn't gap the rings or nothing. We did the exact same thing that we did with the last motor. Reason why we did that is because there was nothing wrong with the last one. That motor would have continued doing its job for us for a very long time if we hadn't clogged up the filters, lost fuel pressure, went lean, and broke it. So for everybody thinking like, oh, we found the limit, we did not find the limit. We were nowhere close to the limit of what these stock bottom ends can do. It's just a, you know, it was a mishap. And hopefully it doesn't happen again. What's up, lady?
Hello.
So yeah, we'll get to it right now. I'm gonna open up the computer, check out the calibration, take a stab at what fueling needs to be, and start it up. All right, so we got something in there that hopefully will start it up. Cranked it a bunch. Can't actually see if it got oil pressure or not while it's cranking, so this is, I don't know. Every time that I've tried cranking these motors, trying to get oil pressure just with the starter, it never seems to work out, so I'm gonna hope for the best. Overall, everything looked good. Fuel pressure was actually controllable. That was one of the things that we had a hard time with last time. I had to drill out the orifice in the regulator, but it's regulating fuel pressure down to like 55 PSI, somewhere around there at idle. So that's pretty much exactly where we want to be. May actually even go a little bit lower with it. We'll see. But yeah, that was one of the problems that we wanted to solve. So awesome there. There's still a really big air pocket. This radiator, the rear radiator system, plus the extra radiator up in the front, it's kind of hard to get that air out the initial startup. Once you get it filled up, it's easy to like keep it full, but yeah, that was the only bad thing. Oil pressure was good. It was at like 65, at idle, which is actually kind of high. I didn't see what it did when it thinned out. No, but that's that oil pump that you have in yours. So remember, I have the middle spring.
Yeah.
So now we know the difference between stock spring, then the middle spring.
Scary right now.
So overall, that is really good. No fuel leaks or anything like that. The reason why it was smoking like crazy was because there's a bunch of oil from when it broke on the exhaust manifold. I totally forgot to brake clean it down and clean it up. So that's going to be smoking for a while, actually. But yeah, it ran fine on the 160s with pump gas. It was pulsing at about 1.2 milliseconds, somewhere around there, at about 14.5 to like 13.8 air fuel ratio, depending on the time from when we started it up. So that's good. The problem is, so we're going to be going to the 210s. I'm using the 160s right now because I know they were kind of clogged up. So I didn't actually expect it to idle as good as that, but we sent a lot of material through this fuel system previously. And so I didn't want to put brand new injectors in there before we cleared out, you know, with new tanks, new lines, all of that stuff. Like I cleaned them out as good as I could, but chances are there was still some crap in there. We'll switch over to the 210s after I confirm that we're not getting any more debris through the fuel system, through the filters. And that's, I mean, I'm gonna have to have it primarily drive on pump gas. So I need to make sure that those injectors have the correct data and we have the correct cam information in there. And that way they run very good at low pulse widths, because if these are pulsing at 1.2 on pump gas, those other ones are going to pulse at like 0.9 or something like that, maybe 0.8. You know, we're using the Snake Eater performance injectors. I'm assuming everything is going to be fine with them. We use them in Troy's Mustang. I mean, his idle's on pump gas perfectly fine, but that is a lot bigger of a motor. It consumes a ton more fuel, even at idle. So his duty cycles, or his pulse width on the 210s are like the same as mine are on the 160s. This motor just takes way less fuel consumption. That's about all we're gonna do at this point. Next video, we'll probably drive it around and you know, get some miles on it, make sure everything is good. And then hopefully soon after, make some hits. I'm gonna make some suspension adjustments before we actually take it out and thrash on it, but we want to start catering it back to a little bit more like no prep, not so much radial stuff. So we're going to make a couple of changes there. Plus, I think we actually have some blown shocks. So we'll take a look at that later. But as usual, if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. Make sure to hit the little bell for notifications and select all so that you can see when we either go live or put up a new video. And leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. Also, if you want to support the channel even more, it'd be a huge help if you click the join button, and there's a couple different levels of membership there, but you can get anything from some extra or some emotes, a channel badge, things like that you can use in chat. But you also get access to all of these videos early. So everybody that's a member right now got to see this video yesterday. And there's some extra content for the highest level videos that aren't available to just regular viewers and subscribers. So if you want to see that extra content or get to these videos a little bit early, check that out, and it explains all the options for everything. So anyway, we will see you on the next one.